Alright, hey you guys, it is TsubakiSwagg, and I'm coming to you with my review of Strike the Blood, episode 22, Return of the Alchemist 3. Okay, so this episode, finally, I like the way this one ended, so I can take back all the bad stuff that I had previously said about the last two episodes, because this episode was actually pretty awesome. But this episode, so Ko finally finds Canon, and he tries to get her, but of course Himuragi stops him, and he separates them, and Canon runs off, and he's following her. Ko is following her. Then they show Kojo talking to Nina, and Nina pretty much pulls the red orb out of Asagi's chest. So I don't even know if Asagi is still alive, because Asagi was laid out on the ground when Nina created another a copy of Asagi with bigger boobs. So I don't even know if Asagi is still alive or whatever. Maybe she's just laid out on the ground somewhere, and they just kind of left her there. So I don't even know if she's still alive or what. I don't know. I'm confused. But they find out, they figure out what the Wise Man's Blood is really after. So they go to the ship. Kojo and Nina goes to the ship to help Kanensei and Himuragi. And Kanen figures out that Ko really isn't even human. He was never human, but he wanted to become human, but he was going about it the wrong ways. And Wise Man's Blood was never going to grant his wish, because he never really understood what it meant to be human. And he just got pissed and tried to go in on Canon. And of course Himuragi just comes up out of nowhere and stops him. And then of course Kojo comes out of nowhere, and he gets so freaking angry. And Nina, who is his master, pretty much tells him the same thing that Canon told him, and he just went crazy. And he dropped this gold skull that he had in his hand on the ground, and it started talking, and it was Wise Man's Blood. And he explained that, they figured out that the reason why Wise Man's Blood hadn't attacked the ship yet is because he wasn't coming after Canon or Himuragi. He was absorbing all of the minerals that is in seawater, so that way he could form his body and become real again. Well, not necessarily real, but he could completely regenerate himself. And he's he turns into this huge gold, not necessarily a statue, but this huge gold person. And he shoot beams out of his mouth, and it was kind of weird looking. Looked like something out of Devil May Cry or something. But Wise Man's Blood, he's just weird. He is a little stuck on himself. And Kojo brings him down a notch and was pretty much telling him that because of the ways he's using his powers, he will never be perfect. He'll never understand the concept of being perfect because of the way he goes about things that he does. And he just got angry and tried to fire. And Kojo tried to save everybody. And when he did so, he got turned into metal, little solid metal. And Himuragi, it was so sad. Himuragi collapsed and cried, and her tears caused freezing magic and froze. It looked like it froze the whole ocean in the boat. And then one of Kojo's familiars came up. A new familiar came up and told him, and she kind of looked like Himuragi, but yet slightly different. And she came up and was she would give him one more chance. She would lend him some power, and he came back. And she kissed him, and he came back, and he went into his vampire state. And then Himuragi hurried up and kissed him, and he sucked her blood or whatever. And now Kojo has a new familiar, and this familiar pretty much, it's kind of like a healing type magic, and it caused the Wise Man's Blood to pretty much go back, revert back in time to, as Himuragi put it, perfect nothingness. So the Wise Man's Blood was never born, and none of it ever really happened for the Wise Man's Blood. Of course they know it happened, but none of that really happened. So the Wise Man's Blood is gone, And Nina, she said she collected some, or what was left of the Wiseman's blood, and now she's like a little doll, and Cannon was holding her. And she said that she was going to ask Natsuki if she could keep it in her apartment. She was like, don't think of me as a pet. But she was so precious. This is like, oh, she's so small. But, and then of course, Nasagi came up. It was like she was completely oblivious to everything that just happened on the ship, as she always is. But that was pretty much the end of the episode. And like after everything happened, they show at the end like Himuragi, well, Kojo is laying in Himuragi's lap, and like Himuragi pretty much tells him that she is going to intensify her observation of him, because pretty much she doesn't want any other woman to ever come into contact with him, which I guess is understandable considering that Himuragi is in love with Kojo, even though she'll never admit it. She is in love with Kojo, and we all know this. And I honestly think that they're going to end up together. But this episode, it was pretty awesome. So I can take back what the bad stuff that I had said about Strike the Blood like the past 2 episodes, but that's neither here nor there. So I enjoyed this episode, and I'm looking forward to the next arc. It looks like it's going to be pretty interesting. So, as always, please remember to comment, rate, and subscribe. And this is TsubakiSwagg saying adios.